Anywhere you go, you belong. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
So here, the very first thing I'm going to do is here. I already filled my pocket. You can see just a simple pocket design. So here is where this one is going to be. Between here, I'm just going to leave a little bit of space. So the very first thing I'm going to do is going to be this. It's going to be a total of ½ inch. It's just going to be an half of an inch. Don't forget, just measure here. You can see that, and you can stitch this black top of it. So before you get here, you're just going to fold your fabric, the color you're using, but make sure you're using a very mature color. This is a carton color fabric, and this is a black. Let's make it very unique. So here I just fold my fabric at, you can see, not up to ½ of an inch, but majorly 1 inch maximum. You can see that is ½ of an inch. I just fold it and use a gum inside. So I'm going to stitch this part. You can see what I did. You can see that the right side of the fabric is facing the right side of the pocket. So you're going to move this upward. You can see that. You're going to turn it inside. See? Some simple design that will make your outfit look unique. So you're going to stitch at this, inside this ditch at the back of this place, so that your stitch is not going to be obvious. So you're going to place it inside and make a stitch. You're not stitching on the black, you're stitching on the fabric, but behind the fabric, inside the first stitch here. So you can see. So when you shake this up, the stitch is going to be inside. Let me zoom in so that you guys can see. You can see this. The stitch is going to be inside. You see that? So the stitch is inside of that place, and it's not going to be obvious. So easily, you're going to cut out this part. So you see this? So this is what we have. That's what we have so far. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm not going to use a stitch here at this side. We're going to, let me use the plain part so that you guys can see. This is going to be behind our pocket. It's going to be it's not going to be very obvious, very tiny part. It's going to be very tiny. It's just going to be like a shadow. Yeah, very tiny like that. Okay, this is how this is going to be. Very tiny. You can see that. This is how it's going to be. Okay, you can see it clearly. This is how it's going to be. But before we do this, I'm not going to stitch this part because I'm still going to stitch it at the side, and I don't want the stitch to be double at this point. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your hemming gun. So you're just going to cut exactly the same size as of this length here. You're going to place it right here, so right here, you can see that. Make sure it doesn't go beyond the fabric. You're going to use your iron. Just make sure it is hot, and you just carry it over it, just like that, just like that. going to melt. You can see it's melt already. It's going to melt. You can see that it's going to melt. It's going to melt just like that. I'm giving you guys some tricks. So it has already melted, simple as that. So you're going to place it over your this thing. Place it exactly how you want it to be. Make sure it doesn't go. I believe you can see what I'm doing. I want you to see. Okay, just like that. Place it. Okay. So right here, you see what we have? So you can easily just iron it down. So the iron is going to make it firm. So far it doesn't need to be that strong. When we're doing the stitch, we're going to make sure, but now it is holding it. It is holding. You see that? It is already holding it. So that is it. The next thing we're going to do now is to attach it to our bodice and to use this one also to do a simple touch on the outfit itself. So here on our bodice, I already chalk the starting point and the ending point of the pocket. So it's going to be at this part. You can see a chalk here in this place. It's not that obvious now. So here I'm going to place my pocket right here. The next thing I'm going to do is I already stitched this part, so I'm just going to push this one backward, so I'll have my pocket. I have my front bodice just open in front of me. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place my pocket right here. At this point, make sure your hand is very, very straight. This is the most important part, this fabric part, because you have to control the fabric at that point so that it won't be too much out, too much in. Okay. So here at this point, you can see that. Make sure you control this fabric here, so that it doesn't come out too much. Use your scissors. You can see that. So this part, this black part, is very, very important. So you have to make sure you're not stitching it more than each of them. So you can see this side is a little bit out, so make sure you put it in before you stitch on top of it. So you're just going to stitch that part straight. Make sure you're balancing your pockets while you do it. You can see that. So here you can easily use your scissors as well. Push it in. Make sure your pocket is balanced. Just stitch that. You see that? So this side as well. Make sure your pocket is balanced. Just check. Make sure your pocket is balanced. You can also make mistake. You can still rectify it. Just stitch it. Okay. So far, this is what we have. Okay, so this is what we have. You can see that. Make sure you knit it out and make sure it's very neat. So here I'm going to show you a very simple display of this. So that's what we have on our front side. So here is what the pocket look like after the finishing. You can see. So the next thing I'm going to do with this small little tape is very simple. At this part, and the down part, you can see here, this way we're going to be adding our black tape. So what we're going to do is going to be a little bit of a stitch, and here it's going to be on this particular line right here on our stitch. So I'm going to stitch at 1 inch. 1 inch is going to be here. So I'm going to stitch 1 inch there. You guys can see. So here I'm going to turn it backward. Make sure it's lap purpose. It's balanced. Now this back, let's fold it backward. And it's going to, you can see a little bit is going to overlap that back part. You can see this front, it's overlap a little bit. So here, you can easily change your back thread to black if you're using a black fabric, but if not, you can just go with this. So we're going to stitch in the ditch. It's the same. Okay. So here is what we have at the back. You can see that. So during the ironing process, just make sure you add a little bit of gum inside here. Just put your gum inside here, so that when you iron, it's going to. That's a simple part. It doesn't remove. It will never remove. And this one as well. A bit of gum inside. Sorry, just cut out the excess from this one. Cut out the excess and put your gum inside. Very simple. So here is what we have. You guys can see that. That will be on the child, at the hem of the senator itself. So you can iron it, and that's everything. Make sure this stitch is very strong. You can stitch it again. Make sure it is strong. So that's about that. Very simple, and I will see you guys on my next tutorial.
Anywhere